up on the party, it's the facts we bring, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Whoa. Uncle Richie, he be bringing the facts, and Uncle C10, he just be making the tracks and entertainment. J Money conversating, yes, they are my uncles, but I'm not talking relations, no. Yes, I love them like my family too. Speakers on blast, listen to my favorite crew, the uncles. Forget your worries and forget all your debts, cause they bringing in the most unique and special of guests, the uncles.
Ladies and gentlemen, followers of the Unkles Podcast, guys, today we are truly, truly honored. The Uncles are truly honored to have an amazing, soulful singer-songwriter who has rapidly become a standout figure in the Australian country music scene, known for his 4-chair turn performance in the blind auditions on The Voice Australia 2025, traveled all the way from the Sunshine Coast. PNG's very own Chris Cobb. Chris, mate, bro, it's like I didn't even give you justice in that introduction, but there's so much we got to cover. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. And honestly, gentlemen, it's just I've been following the podcast, and I was quite surprised that you lads called me up, and I couldn't say no, regardless of what I had. Total honor, total pleasure to be here, and my goodness, that was quite an intro. You made me sound like a superstar.
Honestly, no, that you're being too kind there. I should have added a bit more.
Not at all, brother. You're good, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we're aware that you've got something after this, so we'll try get as much out of you as we can. We were just having a chat earlier before, and we found out a little bit about your background. But just as we do on the Uncles, we have a word of the week segment where we talk to guests. What's your word of the week, Chris?
Love.
Love.
I think that right now, more so than ever, there needs to be love in everyone's mind and everyone's heart, and how we carry ourselves. We should carry ourselves with love, because there's so much anger and hate, and impoverished souls in this world with what's happening with war globally in the geopolitical scene, and it trickles down to such a point where it affects every single human on earth, regardless of whether you're in Australia or Papua New Guinea. We all need to kind of have that in our forefront, have love, so that I really, really hope that everything kind of swings back and we all live harmoniously, peaceful, and joyful together. So that's what I'd say.
That's amazing. Thanks for that. Yeah, love, everyone. The word of the week for Chris. We'll start off with just finding out a little bit about your background. So where were you born? Where were you raised? Where's mom and dad from in Papua New Guinea?
Cool. So yeah, it's a bit of a journey. And if I were to take you on that journey, Rabaul, East New Britain, Nonga, that was where I was born, and it was the year 1990. After 4 years, we had to run away because the two volcanoes erupted, Vulcan and Tavurvur. And where I lived, or where we lived, was right at the bottom of Tavurvur, which is in a little spot, a very famous corner called Malay Town. And that's where I lived with my mom and dad. Dad was from Bougainville. And I use the word was because he's passed on about 7 years ago. And mom is Morobian, specifically from an inland valley called Garaina Valley. So that's where mom and dad are from. And I was pretty much raised in Rabaul. Until the volcanic eruptions, we had to evacuate the town to Karavat. That was an evacuation center. From there, we made our way to Mom's town, which was not the village of Garaina, but the town of Bulolo. And once we kind of landed there, uh, Dad had decided to move up to the Mount Hagens to secure employment, and so we went up to the highlands. I lived in Mount Hagen for about a year. That's when my parents split up. It was the year 1995 or something. Dad had moved on down to Ley. Mom had taken myself and three siblings. We moved to back to her hometown in Bulolo. That's where I did a lot of my early education, primary school in Bulolo. And I guess from there, 2007, my mom had, it was 2003, my mom had met my now Australian father. He raised myself and my siblings up as if we were his own. Was my saving grace. And we ended up in back full circle back to East New Britain,
Wow.
2007, where I did my secondary school, year 11 and year 12 in Cossack.
Wow.
And I'm a proud Cossack boy. And I think from that point, I had the choice of going to uni or doing something else, which was music. And I chose music.
Wow.
Ended up with the, you know, the mother of my two children. We've separated now, but that's where we kind of ended up together. And I chose to have a life in East New Britain.
Yep.
2013, around that time, I took her and our daughter, firstborn daughter at that time, we moved to Bulolo,
Yep.
where I reunited with my mom and dad and the whole family. I worked in a company, well, the same company that my grandfather worked for, same company that my dad worked for. I went and finally rejoined as the third generation in that wonderful company called PNG Forest Products.
Very well-known company.
Very well-known
Yeah.
company in PNG. And I remember the days when I was still in Bulolo. I started working down at the farm doing fence post and doing cowhide sanding.
Wow.
A lot of those really, really gruesome long-hour jobs. But anyway, long short is I went back to Bulolo 2018, around that time. I went through a separation with my now ex, and it was at that point that I decided that I was going to have a full crack in music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Somehow ended up here, but I think I took too long to explain everything. But
No. That's a journey. Wow. What a journey, Chris.
Yeah.
What a journey indeed. Yeah, that's wow, very eye-opening. Obviously, hearing some of those places that you mentioned, very, brings us back to our childhood as well, or my childhood as well in Papua New Guinea. Talking about Rabaul. My dad's from Rabaul, so it seems to be the place where some great people come from.
Yeah, there's something they say. There's something about the volcanic ash.
Yes, that's right. Because where he described his home was where like Somare was basically
Correct,
was born in that area. So
yeah.
no, awesome. Anyway, that was a side story. Another side question.
Absolutely.
Growing up in Papua New Guinea, obviously you've moved here now. You're doing a lot of different things, but we like to ask a few different questions that show us a little bit about yourself that maybe not many people would know. So what's your favorite PNG food?
Oh man, that's a good one. Oh, I haven't been back to PNG for a little while, and I miss so many different types of PNG food. But if I were to put it down to one, to make your answer, to make a question, favorite PNG food right now, I'm feeling this one food called. Back in my days in PNG, you're probably all of you are probably a lot younger than I am. I'm a bit of an old soul now, but when I was in my teens, there was a famous food up in the highlands, goroka, and it was called One Mouse.
One mouse.
And One Mouse was essentially the breadfruit leaf or the kapiak leaf.
Okay.
They would put a nicely chopped size of lamb flabs
Wow.
in the kapiak leaf, wrap it around, but then add some garlic, a bit of chili, ginger,
Jeez.
and a bit of Maggi stock cube.
Oh, come on.
And then they'll wrap it up in a leaf and they will boil it in coconut cream.
Wow.
So there you go.
One mouse.
One mouse. And the way it was served was enough for you to pay for it, and you put that whole piece into your mouth
Oh my gosh.
and you take it down.
Wow. I'm getting hungry about just listening to that. One mouse.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I would put it down to one mouse right now, man.
Guys, shout out to Goroka Town.
Absolutely.
One
to
mouse.
all the apples. Yeah.
Wow,
Yes.
wow.
All the apple and nenfu. Oh man. I hope that food is still in existence.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. We got to try that one day. Hopefully, fingers crossed. When uncles travel to the Highlands, maybe one day we'll try that. But yeah, no, thanks for that. I guess touching back on those earlier days, what was there ever a time in your early life when you remember the power of music touching you? Can you share that with us?
Yeah. The moment you said the power of music, I just instantly forgot about your question, and I thought about a quote, a very powerful quote. I think it was Cliff Richards, very renowned musician. He said, when the let me think about it. The world will be a better place when the power of love overcomes the love of power.
Whoa, that's powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful. Wow.
But anyway, that aside, and going back to your question, the power of music when it touched me. Oh man, there were so many different instances. That's why I'm thinking hard. The time when if I could just close my eyes and picture, it's like being in the eye of the storm when I was a little kid and I saw the sing groups, traditional sing groups, and
Wow.
the big shows. You've got the Goroka show and the Mount Hagen show, and the Lay show was closer to Bulolo, which I grew up in Bulolo, so we could drive PMV, ride 105 kilometers, maybe like 3 hours to Lay show, and the local clansmen and our tribesmen in Bulolo. Bulolo is kind of like a mini PNG where everyone's there. It doesn't belong to ethnically to just one group of people. But there was a community of where my mom's from, community of Garaina people.
Yeah.
And we would want to claim the prize of the Lay show prize. So they would practice for weeks on end with their sing and a sing group. Sometimes for the Garaina sing group, it can go all the way up to say 40 to 50 people.
Whoa.
Chanting to the same chant and beating the same rhythm. And as a kid, sometimes you'd find yourself like standing as a spectator, but sometimes they would circle around in such a pattern where you end up in the middle of it. As a spectator, you end up in the middle of the sing group. And I just pictured 100, it felt like 100 men and women just moving fast, and you're just standing so still, and the vibration of the kundu drum just gets to you and it throws you into a trance. You get lost in it. The smell of the traditional leaves called pinu,
Yeah.
and the other is called tina. The smell of that, the smell of oil, natural oils from coconut. They honestly, it's a moment where you said the power of music really like put me in a different place. That's one of many instances, but I'm not going to elaborate on the others, but that's one. Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, that gave me the chills. That really hit hard. Yeah, you can just the way you describe that, like, really
Yeah.
puts you in that. I guess in that zone, and it can sort of make you imagine what you would have been going through as a child, just witnessing that. Yeah. Yes. Like yeah, it's sort of like an ancestral sort of
Yeah.
moment. It was like resonating
Yeah, that's
heavily.
absolutely. It's kind of like some ayahuasca shit.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No,
But
100%.
it's
No,
like
true.
PNG's ayahuasca, and
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
lost in that.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it just throws you into space, man.
Wow. Whew, wow. Chills. No, awesome. Um, I guess, yeah, like I think you touched on that. My next question was the specific moment in your life. When, like, the question is, was there a specific moment in your life where you thought music is actually my path?
To answer that question, I I really accepted in my head that music was going to be basically um, the main part of my life. Um, I'd say it was quite recent. I've always been a little bit half and half, sitting on the fence. I knew I had talent when I was a kid growing up, when I started to sing and people started to listen. But I was fighting my nature and nurture, because I was nurtured in a very strong working class.
Yeah.
That music was an absolute no. Engineering background, forest industry, that was stamped on me from the get go. This is what you will do. So, having the talent and the passion still, and the strong influence of my family on the other side, still put me in a 50-50 spot up until recently in 2018. 2018 was the time I had decided that music was going to be my life. And that's when I resigned from my job in the family legacy. Just first time I broke out of that was 2018.
Wow.
And I went and I did the vocal fusion in PNG.
Yes.
Finished like number 6 or something, which was one spot shy from the semifinals. Yes. So 2018, I fell short, but I had already resigned from my job, which was my life.
Yeah.
And 2018, it was also the same year that I went through the darkest time of my life, which was a separation with my ex. We had been together since high school, secondary school, had a child together, eventually had 2 kids together. I worked all my life. And then I chased the music dream, 2018, and boom. In the blink of an eye, I'm out of the show. I don't have a job, and I'm out of a relationship. The only thing I had was music. That was the moment.
Gosh. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Definitely. It's yeah. It's very just yeah. Some of these things that we're finding out, like, I would never have known. I don't think anyone listening as well would know that was, I guess, the year that everything sort of formed for you to be here at this moment. And I guess, like, from being at a show like Vocal Fusion, or I was gonna say, I saw some footage online. Did you sell stars even?
Yeah, that
That's
was
like
during the high school days.
wow. That
Back
was
when I was in Rubal
yeah.
or
Wow.
Kokopo. And then this was the innocent time where you're still living under mom and dad's roof.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
you're like, I'm gonna I'm gonna have a crack at this singing
Wow.
show. And Life Was a Fairy Tale Band. And
Jeez.
at the same time around that, I recorded an album with CHM
Oh wow.
back in the days, 2010, I think. And also, wow, what happened? I was playing. I was also the lead singer of Barike Band at that time,
Yes.
because the late John Wong had passed away.
Yeah.
And Anslom went to do Radas, and Kanai Pineri at that time, he had uh, converted to Christianity,
Yeah.
and he was doing gospel music. So Barike Band was left without a vocalist, and I was classmates with the son of the engineer and also the lead guitarist for Barike, Donald Lessie. So his son's name, Donald Lessie Jr. We were best of mates in class, and he said, "Oh, Chris, come and I'll show you a cool spot." And that's when he took me to the studio, CHM studio in Kokopo. And I just sat there and I watched how Donald worked with all the other big artists in PNG at that time. I'm like,
Wow.
holy smokes. So I think there was one time that the young Donald said to his old man, "Dad, listen to this kid." So it was a break time, and he sent all the whoever artist, I think it was Leo Waliling. Leo Waliling was a Kokopo artist band, and he came up with one big hit where East New Britain went wild on it. And I think PNG as well was like, Super Blondie Raikerai Tlewa.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Ada retina tanah nilur
Yeah, yeah.
piragu. Yeah, so it was that session time when Leo Waliling, Donald was recording
Oh.
Leo, and I was sitting there
You
as a
were there.
student watching the whole process. And when he chased Leo and everyone out, and he gave me a guitar and said, "Go on, play me something." When I played him something, that was it. He was like, "You're the kid."
Wow.
So he got me on as part of the crew for Barike, and I ended up singing with them for 5 years. Yeah, I was never a frontline Chris Cobb. I just blended in with the band and did that thing.
Wow.
So I was Barike for 5 years.
Jeez.
But that was the fairy tale time. It was 2010. I was still half and half. What do I do with life? And yeah, but eventually I did Digicel Stars.
Yeah.
I did two actually, two Digicel
Yeah,
Stars.
yeah, yeah.
One was just by myself, and then the other, I think it was 2011 or 2012. I went in as a duet with my ex.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot of cringe factor, I can tell you. And I'm not afraid to openly share about that, because Jesus Christ, have you heard some superstars when they were like 14, 15, like Ed Sheeran?
Yeah.
His voice was cracking
Oh,
up
yeah.
every second line.
Yeah.
And that's what I went through, man. You have, in order to really refine yourself, you need to come out as a diamond in the rough. There's so many rough edges. You're
Yeah.
gonna have those moments, but it's about you embracing them and knowing that it is a part of growth, or you either hide in the shell and keep something that's always gonna allow or create fear and self-doubt, and that's absolutely not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Whoa. So yeah. Geez. So you were there when they recorded that. Jeez.
Yeah, that was Leo Waliling was there. I think there's another classic band in PNG at that time, and still are timeless. They're called the Naroks Band. And
Sounds familiar.
yeah, there's some cool bands during that time. There was also a recording session from another band called Feedback Band, and Feedback was a cool guy by the name of Richard Morgu, who was the bassist for the Sanguma Band.
Oh wow.
And the Feedback drummer was John Hakalitz,
Okay.
who was part of the whole Hakalitz clan.
Powerful name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another cool dude called Douglas Lamo, and they were all part of the Barikes, the Padipots Doys, the Sangumas, and it was just seeing class act Papua New Guinean musicians in action.
Jeez. Wow, Chris. Goodness. Yeah, no, that's crazy because and then you mentioned, sorry, earlier again in one of those questions, you said you went to Cossack. We
Yeah.
had Jaran on before as well. He was from Cossack as well.
Yeah,
So
right.
Cossack seems to have
Pumping out some
stars,
yeah,
some royalty in PNG
yeah.
music.
Nathan Nakikus.
Yeah, oh
Uh,
wow.
Nathan, myself, we had a band back in the days. It was kind of like a junior barike band, and it was called Slam Jams. And Slam Jams did a lot with Nathan Nakikus, Chris Sioni. Um, so when Nathan and Chris did, we were, uh, Bada America Ivuna Agolema
Yeah, yeah.
Erisi Pikwaran
Yeah,
is
yeah.
you relax you and for that plus it was a lot of kids us growing up at that time. We were all Cossack family, and
Wow.
then everyone started doing something, and then eventually they continued their craft and
Mm.
became someone. Yeah, but
Nate's Nakikus and Christiane did the Black Baby.
that's right.
Black Baby.
I remember that.
Lewaya.
I remember that. Yes, right in the back of my head. In fact, oh Jesus, I used to tease Nathan, and he wasn't happy about it. We were all young kids in Kokopo
Wow.
at that time, and when Nathan and Chris did Black Baby, we were all part of Slam Jams, and then the two of them broke out, and they just went. They did.
Wow.
They went big, and I left Slam Jams, and I couldn't really do my music because I was indoctrinated into barike, and barike was like there was one set of rules, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't try this, don't try that. You just stick to the lane. Whereas Nathan and Chris went and did their thing, and then that's when Black Baby came out, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And but every time Nathan walked past my house at Seaview, I was living at Seaview. I'd stand on the veranda, Black Baby, live. If he's watching now, he'll probably have a laugh and say that I am a.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible the connections, hey, the connections that are there. But yeah, that was the earlier parts growing up. You mentioned like obviously your earlier shows you did, so Digital Stars, Vocal Fusion.
Yeah.
Did you ever think from those shows you'd ever end up on a show like The Voice in Australia?
Did I ever think? No. Did I ever dream? Yes. I dreamt. I was like, oh man. That's probably one of the reasons why I went and did the smaller shows. Not small, they were big to me, man. Like Digital Stars and Vocal Fusion. I was like, oh man, this is the closest thing to that far-fetched dream, which is The Voice.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and do it. When I was in the season of Vocal Fusion or Digital Stars, all I could picture was like, oh man, it's just like The Voice. Don't worry, dude. Just yeah. I never actually thought The Voice was going to become a reality. It was just a dream.
Sheesh. Yes. And that dream did come true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like from then to stepping onto that stage. So what was going through your mind the moment you stepped onto the Voice Australia stage for the first time?
I've got butterflies in my stomach just hearing that question. Couple of things went in my mind, maybe three. The first was prior to going on, my daughter, 3-year-old, she's 3 now, but I think she was 2 then. She just had the biggest cry, tantrum, because there was the whole show. There was so many people. There was so much waiting time, and they were there since the morning.
Ooh.
So for a 2-year-old, you get sick of it already. She was so much in so much discomfort that she cried and no one could stop her. That was about 30 minutes before I got on stage.
Wow.
I was trying to think about the show, but at the same time try to help my missus manage the little one. Um, I just kicked into father mode or dad mode. And then I remember the producers coming and pulling me away and said, no, we have to take you aside and start miking you up. And my mind was just, I was just thinking about my daughter. So when I went on stage, they had taken my missus had taken my daughter and the other kids and went out the other way to the exit. And here I am thinking, I'm going to go on stage, my biggest moment of my life yet, and my wife and my children are not going to be there. Oh, but the producers were whispering in my ears, say, you got this, you got to do this, blah, 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 focus, focus. And I was really half and half. When I got on stage, the next thing was when I looked to the left, I heard my daughter said, Dad. When I saw the missus and the kids on the left side, my heart and my worry kind of came down a bit. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to sing to my daughter to comfort her. And that's when the other thought came into my head was, man, I'm terrible at remembering lyrics. There's been many shows that I've done where I've forgotten lyrics and I just made it up, mumbled something a long way. And this was the one time that I was like, dude, you're going to be on national TV. Do not stuff the lyrics up. So one was like, comfort the daughter. Two was just remember the opening line. And it's when the war is over. 5 words, Chris, 5 words, 5 words. And when I opened my mouth and I said, when the war is over, everything fell into place.
Oh, jeez. Whoa. Yeah, what a roller coaster. Jeez. That's beautiful. I mean, just hearing that, like that's it's one of those things, I guess, as a father, you've got to be there. You gotta also show right. that side as well. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, what a start. I mean, you turned 4 chairs. Like, what was that moment like? As soon as you heard that, were you focused on them, or what were you looking at in that moment?
I blanked out. Honest to God, I blanked out. So the first thing is, I remembered singing to my daughter, the intention. Then I said, the other part where I remember was get the lyrics right, the first lyrics right, first 5 words. I got that done. And when I sang the part where it's like, pack my bag to no place and no time, no way. And I landed like that. That was when I started to cry. Because at that moment, I pictured beyond my family. I pictured my country. I pictured my people, everyone back in PNG. And that's when the emotions start to take over me. And I said, you and I started to build. And when I blew out that one line, the only memory I have was one chair turning, one. And I remember Ronan turning. After Ronan turned, it was like I don't know if you're, I did some marathon before and you just go into survival mode. And once you cross that finish line, you just faint. It was like that. When I had one chair and I remembered Ronan, after that, I was off blank. I don't know how I finished the song. It was well after the song that I kind of regathered again. I was like, holy smokes. There's 4 people looking at me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that is incredible, Chris. Seriously. Like, I think when I remember watching that, everyone was like off the chair, just absolutely going wild when the 4 chairs turned around. I'm sure everyone in the country who was watching that night, like, they can remember that feeling of seeing a Papua New Guinean. You know, I think for most people, that's making it already. Just, having those people turn like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And I mean, the next question I was going to ask was, what's something people don't see about the journey behind the scenes of a show like that? You did touch on it, obviously, before stepping out.
Yes.
Um, what was it like after that? So
Um, After The Voice or before The Voice?
before the voice,
Yeah,
actually,
before The
before
Voice.
the voice.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to be on point answering that, but one of the things I really wanted to share was the moment when people saw the actual performance on stage and the journey, which was on screen.
Yeah.
That was really just the tip of the iceberg. And in fact, it was about 7 months of to and from with
Wow.
the whole process,
Wow.
from the point where you submit the application, to the point where you come up with song selections, to the point where you fill out, 15, 20 pages of questions, to the
Sheesh.
point where you get police clearances, to the
Wow.
point where you go and do stage one of just recording, rehearsals, stage two, stage three. There was so much. So when I actually sat down after the show and I calculated time spent behind the scenes and time spent on camera, it was like 97% of preparation for 3% of brilliance.
Sheesh. That's incredible. That's incredible.
That's what
crazy.
people don't realize. To get something to international or world class, you'd have to look at preparation ratios like that.
Whoa. There's time. There's a lot of time put into
Yeah.
it. Wow. Wow. I guess like having that preparation, I think it left little space for doubt. But did you ever doubt yourself during the competition? And how did you push through it?
Absolutely. Having the preparation, you said it really well. Having that amount of preparation really, really minimized the avenues of doubt. However, doubt is part of human nature.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
So it's that demon in your mind, and when you find yourself alone, or when you I had some moments where it was triggered when I couldn't hit a note right. Like, you got the nice song and everything, but that's just one part where you just can't nail it,
Mm.
and you kill yourself over rehearsing to the point where you haven't nailed it yet, but you're already suffering from vocal fatigue, and then you realize that the actual show is 48 hours away. So you need to allow time for recovery. And it's a, oh my God moment. What do I do? How am I going to pull through? Those were the moments
Wow.
of doubt when it hit me. And how I overcame it was, I was lucky enough that when I went through the first stage of over preparing by trying to be super perfect vocally, and I started to lose my voice. I'm so glad that the people around me, the support system, my friends, my parents, my missus, we all spoke about this openly, and we said, okay, you don't want to repeat this in the next rounds,
Mm.
so you got to be careful on how to figure out that switch, pivot to something that you could be comfortable doing.
Mm.
So that's how I overcame the first stages. So when I had self-doubt in the second and the third and the fourth stage, I didn't wear my voice out.
Okay.
It was more, am I a bit too comfortable because I don't want to kill myself? So it's that kind of doubt where it wasn't physical.
Yeah.
I didn't suffer physical damage vocally, but it was just mental.
Mm.
Like, is it going to be okay?
Yeah.
So that was the only doubt that I had, and it was very easy to overcome when I honed in on who I am as a person, and then spoke openly to my support system around.
Yeah.
Those kind of were the two things that instantly helped me overcome
Wow.
the doubt that I had.
And I guess it's really important to have support during
Yeah,
that sort of
absolutely.
show, and I mean, in that journey while working on that show like Voice. How important is it um, on a stage like that to represent Papua New Guinea in an international audience?
It is very, 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 very important um, to represent PNG on an international stage. And the reason why I say it's super important is because it could be a few factors, but the one that I can really see clearly is Papua New Guinea, to me, is a special place. And it has so much beauty. The people are so loving and compassionate. The country in itself has so much potential to be the best in the world. However, it's not backed up with what is portrayed to the outside world. Papua New Guinea is predominantly in the media. It's predominantly a bad case scenario story. Majority of the stories that come out, and PNG has got its name, bad news PNG, bad news this, bad news that. And I felt, as someone who's from PNG and is proud to be from Papua New Guinea, to be on an international stage where the world is watching, man, that's crucial. That is a moment, a significant moment to make a strong statement that we're not just bad news PNG. If the music is good, people can feel it. People see who I am as a human being. It's like, hey, that's a cool dude. He's not bad. He's not terrible. Where's he from? Oh, he's from PNG. Yeah, right. I didn't know that. Totally different perception.
Yeah.
So I felt it was super important for me to come across as who I am, that represents or is from PNG, so that people can understand. That's simply answers your question, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thanks for that. No, that definitely, I guess it resonates with us three, because that's obviously one of our main messages in the Uncles is
Mm,
to show that other side of Papua New Guinea that people don't see often,
yeah,
and it's honestly the real side of Papua New Guinea
absolutely.
that a lot of people don't really know about,
Yeah,
and it's to highlight all the stories like yourself, um, and just make sure that the world knows Papua New Guinea is the greatest place on earth. Yeah,
absolutely. I absolutely believe that, man.
yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, like I mean, when we watched that, I remember watching Ronan Keating mention that he's connected to you somehow as family. Please elaborate for those at home who didn't really quite get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, my partner, her name is Carlo. Um, Carlo Laine Utritz. She has a cousin sister, or her cousin, Storm. Her name is Storm. Storm Utritz, and Storm is married to Ronan.
Wow.
So I guess in the PNG way of saying it, Mitupla Ronan, one marit.
Oh yeah, yeah. One marit. That
Yes.
sums it up for sure. Yeah. No, it was. I think we understood that. We understood that when he was describing it. But
Yes.
like as everything's unfolding on TV, it's like it's really quick, and then you just like left in with question marks, like
That's
going, how
right.
are they connected? So yeah. No, thanks for clearing that up.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And yeah, like so going through all that, going through the voice, that journey thus far, how do you stay grounded while stepping into a bigger spot?
Mm. Ooh, that's a good question. I stay grounded while stepping into a bigger spotlight by applying a few measures. And I'm probably going to elaborate on two. One is, without putting music aside, my how I maintain my relationship with very special people, and that is my family. The principles are very strong. Uh, my community. Um, if it's me going down to the local bakery and just spending 1 hour of my time sitting down and having a chat to the old dude that drives his, grandpa mobile to go to the news agent, pick up a paper and go back. These are measures that I do is when you connect with people, or you do it with true intent and true heart. And don't just have it up here and brush away because you're in the limelight. No, that is an example. When I communicate to my one talks in PNG, it could be a little video that I've done, or singing a song, and then someone's commented and said something nice. Well, I reply in the comment. Personally, I do that and say thank you so much, but I go to the extent of going into the messenger and privately having a conversation with that person. Totally random fan, but having a proper conversation with that person, because he or she is another human being that looks at you and appreciates you for inspiring or motivating. So you reciprocate it. And that's some of the measures that I do outside of music in the social aspect.
Yeah.
But within music itself, how I ground myself is, regardless of being where I am in the spotlight, I played in front of, say, 30,000 people just in a Tamworth Music Festival.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's great. You played in front of 30,000 people. But at the same time, um, I'm not afraid to get out on the streets of Mululuba Esplanade,
Wow.
sit down on the little rock bench that is built up, pull my guitar out, and strum away and busk. I see that busking is my tonic or my remedy of keeping my music still grounded, deeply rooted, because that's exactly where I started. I started busking, um, not in a sense where when I was in PNG, busking is not an official thing. It's kind of like frowned upon. You beggar. They call it, look at you as a beggar.
Yeah.
So many positives that come out of busking, and I
Mm.
really, really hope that someone gets busking over in PNG,
Yeah.
because I'm a busker at heart.
Mm.
And what I found was it's so humbling when you're an artist who knows you've got talent and you've been everywhere. But when you get down and you bask, there's a few takeaways. One, there could be a guy that's heartbroken from a bad breakup, and it walks past and you sing him a song. Well, he probably wouldn't have the money to buy a ticket to go and watch a concert. He probably wouldn't have the money or time to go to a club and, you know, enjoy a night,
Yeah.
or listen, or counsel or whatever. But you sing a song that really could settle him down. There could be a guy that's highly addictive to drugs or alcohol, but you could switch him around by making him feel good or making him think with what you share in that open container. It's outside the box. It's an
Yeah.
open world. You get so many different energies of people moving to and from. And when you share something beautiful, it could change someone's life. And I'll share this. Like, someone was literally in one of my busking sessions, someone stopped after I sang a song, came to me and said that, thank you for sharing that with me. I was just thinking about taking my own life,
Oh.
and you've changed my mind. It was at that point in my busking time that I'm like, no matter where I am, who I am going to continue to busk, because It ain't about the money. It's about giving the love unconditionally to an open space. And at the same time, it strengthens me because I get to gauge. I'm like, okay, is this music right? It's not resonating. So if it's not resonating on the street and the open people, it might not work. If I'm gonna go and record something, or
Mm.
if I'm gonna go and play in front of 20,000 people that's paid big money to go and watch something.
Yeah.
So it's my gauging area. And the thing I learned about busking is, one, yes, it absolutely keeps me grounded. But two is it you as a musician, your value is not determined by where you play or which stage you play. It is your voice that gives you the value. It is your music that determines that value, irrespective of where it is. You could sing in the shower, you could sing on the streets, you could sing in front of the international stage on The Voice, but the place does not determine your true value.
Yeah. Wow. Oh wow. I know that's really powerful message you shared there. Definitely something that'll inspire myself. Obviously,
Mm.
being a lover of music myself. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Thanks,
Um, yeah, I mean, speaking about love and some of these things that shape the person that you are. Like, it's great to have someone like yourself who's open to speaking about that.
Yeah.
In the Papua New Guinea culture, obviously,
Yeah,
it's a bit tough for men to open
Yeah.
up like that,
yeah.
and that can lead to some horrible things.
I absolutely hear you.
Yeah, that can lead to some horrible things. Domestic
Yeah.
violence being one of them. I mean, we see some of those negative things that we were talking about before, about PNG. So just on that topic of domestic violence, we had last week an episode with the marketing manager of South Pacific Beer,
Yes.
SP, Lawrence Akanufa, come in. Now we've seen all the videos circulating now on socials. We shared that ourselves. We're actually really pushing that as well. And you're in that, heavily involved in that. You're in there. There's another young guy that we really respect and look up to as well here in Brisbane as well.
Travis.
Travis,
Yeah.
is in that. So, I mean, tell us about your connection with SP and that space, working on that.
Thank you. It was I had known both Travis and Lawrence when I was living in PNG.
Wow.
Um, Lawrence Lawrence's missus uh, were family that I kind of grew up with. Um, Nonetheless, we're always good buddies. He was with SP. He's a good lad. And young Travis, I met him in Moresby when I think at some stage I've got a company over there in PNG that is a media talent agency kind of thing. And I wanted to look at avenues where how I would assist the growth of talent and the nurture. So I went to the Port Moresby Arts Theatre to do some sponsorships and donations, and that's when I caught one of the shows that a play that they had done. Travis was in it as one of the main characters. And it was just I was so moved with the movement of arts, especially with the Moresby Arts Theatre.
Yeah.
Pretty cool human beings, and they're smart, and you know, I really feel like that is also the next generation of leaders in Papua New Guinea to
Yeah.
move into the right direction. That's okay. Yeah. Nonetheless, one of my friends in Ley sent a link and said, "Hey, Chris, you should try this." So I didn't know I was busy doing music, and
Yeah.
I opened the link and it's like, "Oh, it's an ad for something." They didn't mention which
Yeah.
one, so it was through a different company, and I just say, "Oh, you got to send a little mixtape or something like that."
Yeah.
And I took a couple of photos and a little video, sent it, and they said, "Oh, you're shortlisted."
Oh,
You're right. Okay. So I spoke to the guy and the producer of the whole shoot, the production.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, there's only one thing. I have a few non-negotiables." And he's like, what is it?" I said, "Well, I don't hold a, um, I don't come across on screen with smoking
Yeah.
or drinking."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, it's an ad for SP." And, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a tough one." I said, "Oh, his name's Claudio." I said, "Claudio, mate, you know my non-negotiables, and I can't do it." So he says, "All right, I'll get back to you with the script. I'm not supposed to share it, but I'll get back to you." I said, "I'll talk to my wife about it." And an hour later, Claudio had come back to me with a rough script. And what it was I saw, it's like, oh, gender-based violence,
Mm.
BBV was on. And I started to read into it, and I'm like, oh, actually, that that aligns with everything that I represent and how I want to
Mm.
come across.
Yeah.
So I give Claudio a call back, and I said, I'm back on.
Wow.
And it was at that point when they start to send the characters and everything. It's like, oh, I know that guy. I know
Yeah.
that guy. And I'm like, wait, hang on, Claudio, who's driving this? And he said, oh, there's a guy called Lawrence. And funny enough, I had Lawrence's WhatsApp, and I was like, hey, bro, you gonna get me on that or not? We had a good
So
laugh.
good.
It was entirely done professionally through a different third party.
Wow.
But Lawrence was at the receiving end, monitoring everything in PNG,
Jeez.
and I was working with that production company. But
Wow.
it was after that that I explained to the producers that, oh, I know Lawrence, we're good mates, and everything lines up together, and the whole thing just organically happened. Turned out really well.
Wow.
So I hear the part about men in PNG being a little bit more closed.
Mm.
Oh, mate, I grew up in that culture as well,
Yeah.
and it was something that, as a man, as a father, as a husband, um, I realized that it's something that contributed to the demise of uh, myself as a person, which eventuated into uh, the deterioration of my relationship, previous relationship, was because I was closed, too closed, living in PNG is pretty a solid place to kind of try and navigate, the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
But that's PNG. You try and scale it down to a little cowboy town like Bulolo.
Ooh.
That's crazy. That's like turbocharging it.
Sheesh.
Um, I worked 14, well, 10 to 14 hours a day for sometimes 6 days. And it was a culture that was not really good, where can't keep up, can't open up, don't have avenues to talk.
Yeah.
Um, and those were the things where I learned in life along my way. Like, yeah, that didn't do me good. That did not. I lost this, I lost that, I lost this, I lost that. So when I came to Australia, if there was one thing I wanted to do was to break that stigma, to understand, to find avenues where me as a man can openly share my vulnerability,
Mm.
because I've realized that being brave is being vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really that's the truth, honestly. And I think a lot of people, a lot of like the male population in PNG need to uh, keep growing in that sense, because I mean I listened to that podcast with Lawrence,
Yeah,
and yeah, they're really trying to break that door down
yeah,
and start having these conversations out there, and I think they're doing a great job. And I mean it's even just surprising seeing how like hard it was for them to even get across the line, because it is such a topic.
mm, mm,
But I think they're doing a good job, and yeah, congrats again on that. Like, yeah, it was good. When I saw it, I was like, hey, this is Chris. So yeah, it's yeah, really, really cool to see that. But yeah, I guess that is something coupled with a lot of other stuff that you're doing at the end of or the second half of 2026.
Yeah.
Tell us about them. So I know you've got recordings or collaborations, albums. Brisbane Eka coming
Yes.
up as well. That'll be a special appearance there. Share with us what's there for the later half of 2026.
Thanks, man. I'm a brutally honest man, and I'm worried if I openly share, I'm going to get in trouble with.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, you don't have to.
Oh, I'll think it through. I'll think it properly. Yes. So 2026 was a big year for me, and it still is. I did started off with a bang in Tamworth in January,
Tamworth,
the Country
that's right.
Music Festival, and straight off the back end of that, it had opened a few more doors where I just recently signed with a record label, and that's from the back end of signing with a brand and PR company. I think the signing of the brand PR company was maybe late 2025, October, November, something like that, which kind of put me on a larger arena
Mhm.
In terms of where I was playing and who I was playing to, and then that gravitated me towards Tamworth. And from the back end of Tamworth, I had been scouted by a record label where I've just recently officiated the signing under that record label, and I think uh, they're going to do the official announcement in the next couple of weeks. So I'm probably not going to mention which record label
Sure.
it is,
Sure.
but I've signed with a record label, and in that record label, they've got a couple of A-list artists,
Mm.
and the plan is to, apart from having an album, which is in current process, be released somewhere at the third quarter of this year, which is probably like July, August, September. There's going a release of my album, and just at the back end of the release of the album, uh, one of the A-listers under the record label and myself will be doing two tours, one in Australia and one in PNG.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's solid. Wow, that's
So I'm
exciting.
trying to be very, very general here
Yeah,
without going
yeah,
into
yeah.
finer print, but
Sure,
but that can be shared.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
I put it.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah, we'll make sure. Yeah, exclusive. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that. No, the very exciting times ahead. 100%. You know, really excited for you. Big things coming up. Now we'll sort of. I know we're sort of done for time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just outside of music, I guess what sort of person is Chris Cobb? I know you're a father, a very proud father, loving in a loving family. Um, yeah, what's that like? What do you do in your spare time? And
Outside of
yeah.
music, I'm the kind of dude that if we meet up, catch up, I'm like, hey, let's go and have fun. And you're probably thinking like, okay, is it go to the pubs or go roller coaster or watch a movie or whatever? No, I'm like, climb up that tree and get that big acorn on the side branch where it's almost going to break and you're going to fall and die. Pick that one up, come down, and then we'll pluck it open. We'll pick the best one. We'll put it into the ground and nursery them.
Oh, wow.
That's fun for me. I'm a
good.
bit of a nerd, but at the same time, nerd meets man on the land who really appreciates working the land, gardening. I love working on vehicles, getting under and doing services, changing tires, brake pads. not so much detailing, but a lot of the dirty
Yeah, the real work.
real work and also building. I love
Mm.
woodworking. I worked in the forest and downstream process industry for maybe nearly 12 years. I must have clocked
Wow.
in 12 years where I did logging and
Mm.
eventually went into downstream processing, producing, what you see here, the
Yeah.
plywood and sawmilling. And I did all sorts of things. So once I moved away from music, that passion is and the knowledge and the skills are still in active motion. So if I'm during my off time, I'm doing those kinds of stuff,
Yeah. Wow.
and at the same time, I'm very very uh, interested in understanding uh, Papua New Guinea. Um, it drives me closer to understanding cultural identity,
Yeah.
where I am an avid collector of archival PNG books, um, books that talk about Papua New Guinea as early as 1526,
Oh wow.
when the Spanish explorers came in.
1526.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
So I've been doing dedicating a lot of my hobby time. We have no screen policy in my house, and everyone reads. And I
Yeah.
literally have a room that's as big as this, as just a library, and
Wow.
um,
Wow.
and the wealth of knowledge that comes from books is just out of this world. And I specifically have a collection of Papua New Guinean archival documents, books, everything. Um, like I said, a lot of the history dates back to as early as 1526. You talk about books that talk about this Kalibobo lighthouse,
Yeah.
coast watchers. It's a famous book by a guy called Eric Felt, and he talks about um, which Papua New Guineans were the CIA
Oh.
uh, back in those days,
Wow.
and they were doing coast watching. So a lot of intelligence work, along with the Australian Naval Intelligence Bureau, and the Australian Royal Navy,
Wow.
and some really cool stuff, strategically war stuff during the gold mining stages,
Mm.
uh, books about how the Highlands Highway, the Okuk Highway, became to be.
Jeez.
Anyways, it goes on and on and on, but I am a bookworm in that
Yeah.
field.
That's incredible. Wow. That's so good. Well, I'm not surprised. Just the wealth of knowledge you've shared today, just goes to show. But yeah, guys, read the books. Don't
Absolutely.
get stuck in scrolling. That's one thing as well. That's one thing I've always thought of as well. Just with my young family as well. Always yeah, books first. Obviously, you just touched on it before. Being a father yourself, uh, you know, as a father myself, I always try to include like music with my little one. I love music as well. Um, your kids must be stoked that you're, Chris Cobb. um, yeah, you've reached heights. Do they share the same passion for music as yourself? Are you encouraging that?
They do. They share the same passion. They are all musical. Youngest boy is about a year and a half, and the youngest boy he's about a year and a half, and he's not afraid to. He really loves doing a bit of drumming and dancing when I'm singing. All the way to my 13-year-old daughter. She's
Mm,
picked up a guitar, played. She's amazing. She's got a beautiful voice and a tone.
wow.
Still finding her space and in terms of
Yeah.
confidence building. But what I do is I was never forced
Mm,
as during my upbringing, never forced to do music. It was something that came naturally, and
mm,
so I wanna be able to cultivate that same culture.
yes.
Is do it naturally at
Mm,
your pace, the level of passion and the drive that you have. Do it naturally. If you need to push for, of course, the other things that are important in life is you need to have an education. So
yes.
that is a foundation that I need to drive as a father as well.
Yep.
But the kids do music class, but
Mm.
it's not something like your Chris Cobb's daughter or your Chris Cobb's son. You got to be top of the music class.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good to hear that. Thanks for sharing that with us. Okay, last question before we get into something else. Looking ahead, what legacy do you want to leave, not just as an artist, but as a voice from PNG for those who want to become like you one day?
I want to leave a legacy that people remember as he's a nice guy. He's just a nice dude. He's a good father. He's a good human being from PNG,
Yeah.
from Papua New Guinea. I really want to leave a mark where Papua New Guineans, the younger generation coming, will look up to and be inspired and be motivated to be better than who I am. But this is a precedence that I've set as an example. I've come through the darker stage of the ups and downs and found a light. So mila come across some mixing bus knife or grass knife na may cutting bus. Rot kama pinis. Put him gravel na make him go smooth na ibla
Right. Thank you so much for that, guys. Yeah, we're really honored today to have you, Chris, to come and share with the uncles today. And you also brought some of your music with you, or your guitars. If we have a bit of time, I'm not sure what time it is now, but it's 2:30. Should we just listen to a couple of your favorite songs, and then we'll wrap it up?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Let's squeeze something in.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, gents.
Whoa! That was great. Wow. There you go, brothers. Wow.